So I meet like Michael Shreve
Right.
in Redwood.
From Santana.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
wasn't with Santana yet.
Before that, yeah.
He was going to San Mateo College, and I went there. There's this band that potentially I might be able to be part of. Jennifer Kuhn asked her parents if I could stay one night over there, and so they took me in.
Wow.
And I ended up living there for that whole year with them.
Yeah.
They treated me
that's like what I was like.
They treated me
when
like
I moved there.
yeah, like I was their son. And I'm watching TV, eating my peanut butter sandwich and chocolate milk. And here's this whole thing about Huey Newton and Black Panthers. That, man, it was like the scariest thing, the way they're being profiled.
Right.
That I said, holy shit, thank God for my naiveness.
Yeah.
Because if I had seen that,
you would have been scared to death.
And gone up there,
right.
and then heard that, then they would have seen this white kid in
Yeah.
fear or something, and maybe they would say, what's he doing here?
Isn't that funny?
And they would have put me out. Hopefully it wouldn't hurt me or anything.
Yeah, that's
But
really interesting.
So naiveness sometimes helps.
Can help, yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I mean, one of the things I found going to, because I've done a lot of teaching of harmonica in prisons, and that being around the inmates, it was like such a revelation that, you know, people don't necessarily come off the way.
They do horrific things.
Yeah, they could have done horrific things, but
Yeah.
you would never know.
You would know it.
So once you got out of
the Bay
court
Area,
case, you went. Did you hitchhike down to LA?
No,
or
I met a guy named George Unwin, I think his name was, and he wanted to manage me. He wanted to be my manager.
Okay.
And so he would take me around. As a matter of fact, Cretan Clearwater.
Creedence Clearwater.
Yeah. They were playing in this little club in San Francisco. The stage is, it's like a tiny place. The stage is really high up.
Huh.
And they didn't want me, but I ended up somehow got in and sat in with them.
Right.
Because they were trying to do their debut as Creedon and then somebody else. But anyhow, I said, you know, a couple things like that. And then some other guy who had just inherited $5,000, which was a lot of money.
Ton of money,
right? Was going to invest it in
your career?
In my career.
Wow.
So George Unwin got it worked out. So we drove down to Los Angeles, and there was a Gold Star studio, which was a famous.
Oh yeah. That's where the Wrecking Crew was.
Yeah, a lot of things. It's not even existing. It's torn down now.
Right.
Doc Siegel was his name. And I brought it to, and he called up Stu Levine and Hugh Masekela.
Wow.
And then I went back into the studio to see Doc Siegel, and Stu Levine was there. Dr. John had just done his album and all the other stuff. And Stu said, no, I'm not interested. Something like that. Then Doc said, come on. And then he went into a room. I guess he played something, whatever, and came back out. And Stu Levine was interested, so he writes down Hugh Masekela's address. And it was Cap Calloway's daughter.
Wow.
Who answered the door. She was with Hugh Masekela.
What a trip.
And a little old lady owned a house, and she had a little guest house that she lived in and rent that house we had. And so that gave me an opportunity to bring the guys down, the musicians from San Francisco that I had started to put together.
Right.
Tim Barnes.
Oh yeah, he ended up in Stoneground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim Barnes. Yeah, he died recently.
And we were staying in this house, you know, like hippies, man.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a room for five people, separate rooms.
Right.
So we had a
sleeping bag.
Or we put little curtains or those things, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my first record player.
Huh.
I never had a record player before.
Wow.
That's when I got Ray Charles, Crying Time.
Yeah.
Never heard anybody. Only music I ever heard anybody was maybe on radio in Denmark, but it was Björling, Robinson Crusoe, or anything from blues to whatever. Didn't know categories, didn't matter. It was all music. We were staying at this house in Malibu, and I'm supposed to work out with these guys. But apparently the guys didn't want to do anything with me. Because I think what Stu Levine has said, you're not, Lee Oskar is the star, the artist,
and you
or
guys
whatever.
are nothing. Yeah.
No, not nothing. You're the backup musician.
You're the backup musician.
Or whatever it said. It was something like that.
It didn't work for them.
He dropped me off on Sunset Boulevard where Whiskey Go-Go is.
Right.
And Sunset Strip there.
Yeah.
And Mario would let me in because he knew me from Hugh Masekela night. So they would let me free in there.
So you really it was really a thing of luck of who
different things.
You ran into.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was it at the whiskey that you met Eric Burdon?
No, I met Eric Burdon on a place called The Experience.
Oh yeah. I've heard that was on
Sunset Boulevard.
That was on Sunset too, right by the Palladium.
But
wasn't it?
It's so far east that it was like not the place that was happening.
Yeah.
And it made real serious threats to the Whiskey A Go-Go, because Whiskey A Go is the place on Sunset Strip.
That was happening.
And in the east side, way east of that, nothing happened.
Yeah.
But there was the place that was like promoting for the jam sessions.
Right.
And at the Coliseum, the LA Coliseum, when anybody played, no matter what act it was, they knew that after hour, they somehow found out that this is the place to go and jam.
Yeah.
So Whiskey A Go was being threatened by this stuff.
Oh, okay.
And Marshall Brothers let me in for free.
Yeah.
He just let me in for free.
Right.
And then I met Blues Image. They had just,
yeah.
So Blues Image had just came in from Florida. And with the Blues Image, Mike Pinero.
Right. My friend was real good friends with him.
So they would let me come up and play.
Right.
So I came in for free and I sit in and play. Then Eric comes in and he also sat in with those guys.
Oh, okay.
So he and I started to connect.
Right.
And then one day when I hitchhiked to the Whiskey A Go-Go and I walk in those celebrity booths,
right,
I see Eric.
Right.
So I walk over to say hi to Eric.
Yeah.
Chris Huston comes up to me with Chris Huston became our engineer. He came up to me with a card and he says, I have a recording studio in Hollywood and I'd like to sign you.
Wow.
So I didn't want to be signed by him, but I said, hey, he's got a studio. I can make a demo.
Yeah.
Because I had just left A&M Records, knocked on their door a few days before.
Wow.
And the woman that's receptionist, I thought she was the record label.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll sign for $400. I thought that was a lot of money. And she says, get this hippie out of here.
Yeah.
So
that was a brand new label.
Yeah, and Mo, I met Mo that time. He just passed.
Right.
You know, and
is that Mo
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to be signed to them.
Yeah.
And when they said no, they can't say no unless they've heard me.
Right.
Otherwise, I can't. If they say no after they heard me, it's one thing, but they haven't heard me. So I wanted to prove to them. So I went to Chris Huston's studio.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to sign with you. I just want to use the studio, and then I can pay you back if it's not.
You really did have ambition.
So he says, he says, I won't do that. So I sat in the lobby, like devastated.
Yeah.
And here comes this dude out, that was Jerry Goldstein, with a Coleman piece of paper out of the studio, doing like a kazoo, like a harmonica. And he's yelling, I need a harmonica player. And I'm sitting here watching this, but I'm devastated. So all of a sudden, we got somebody. This kid comes running up the stairs, goes in with Jerry Goldstein. Minutes later, comes back out like he's not happening. And the guy says, I need a harmonica player. And I had one harmonica in my name, that F harmonica. I said, I play harmonica because I'm kind of embarrassed if he'd seen me all this time and I didn't say anything.
Right.
Okay, come on in with me. He puts the headphones on. I played with no taste. I mean, I was just so excited to play. I played in fifth gear. Right? And Jerry liked it so much, he was like, gave me $10. So now I meet this parking meter lady and I take out for a pizza. And the pizza was more than $5 because the $10 I gave $5 to that band that I was like trying to take care of, right? You know,
right.
Then I felt guilty. They got $5.
Yeah.
I have $5, and I take the meter lady out for a pizza, and it's more than that. So I left the harmonica, the only harmonica I had, because I'd given up as a tip, like somebody would want a fucking harmonica as a tip, right? And she paid the extra.
Night Shift was the original War.
That
band,
was the
right?
band. Yeah, that was. Yeah, the guys the guys in the band War.
Now, did you and Eric find them? Was that the deal that you guys kind of accidentally found them?
No, not accidentally. Jerry Goldstein had.
Oh, he found them.
No, yeah, but Jerry Goldstein had a poster company then.
Okay.
Called The Visual Thing. That's how he had connection with Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morris, and everybody. Because posters were a big thing.
Right, that was a big thing. Yeah.
So they would come to the back door and work deals out.
Right.
So this guy Peter Rosen worked for Visual Things, and he was a bass player, and he played in that band. So he would keep telling Jerry.
You mean he played in Night Shift?
Yeah.
Oh.
You gotta come down and see the band.
Oh, okay.
So Eric and I went down.
And where was that? Where did you go see him?
It was called the Ragdoll, and then later the FM station in North Hollywood.
North Hollywood. Okay.
So when we walked in, it was packed with people.
Yeah.
and it was Deacon Jones.
Playing the keyboards?
No, Deacon Jones, the football player.
Football player. Okay, I was thinking the keyboard.
Yeah, he was doing his singing debut.
Oh, right.
He was doing like a one-arm push-up with the other microphone. I love you, baby. And I mean, I was embarrassed to see that because it makes me feel like a wuss. I mean, if that's what makes you a man, yeah.
That's great.
So he's doing his singing debut and with the backup band, and then when after he's done his set,
no wonder they wanted to hire you in there.
No. They heard that Eric was coming in to check it out. So they didn't know who Eric looked like or anything.
Right.
So when he finished the singing, they did their set. And somehow something told me to jump up, so I jumped up and played. They thought I was Eric Burdon.
Wow!
Because they knew the right. And I played. And amazing how many people in Hollywood all want to make record deals. Everybody had something.
Yeah,
they're all like
you could do it back then.
I mean, they were like so it was like a freaking circus.
Yeah.
And then maybe a few days later, the nucleus of the band, and Eric and myself, all met at this place in Hollywood that we sat around a swimming pool. And we had lox and bagels and all that stuff, and that's when we came up with the name War. And
now, how did you come up with that name?
Well, there are different stories. My story, honestly, is that I had this whole philosophy. We talked about everybody walking around saying peace. I was saying about everybody walking around saying peace.
Right.
And if you're totally in peace with yourself, you can't be creative. So my philosophy was, if you are the part in you that makes you creative is the war that's in you.
So like kind of the
so
war.
So Steve Gold says, "Whoa, that's it." So people say he came up with the name, but it came from me. That's philosophy.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I know that Eric was only with you guys for what was it?
It seemed
like a year, but it was 6 months.
It's when you look at logistically, it was a very short time. I don't remember what it was, but when in field,
you guys kind of had an immediate.
But the feel to me was it didn't seem that short, but it was.
It was.
Yeah.
How much touring did you guys do with Eric?
Well, we did some. I mean, we played a lot of places, also like the Golden Bear in Huntington Beach.
Right.
We were like the house band, so we could warm up, and we recorded live every night. We had a remote recording device that traveled, so we recorded any shows. When we came to England, of course, he's the superstar.
Right.
And he didn't show up.
Yeah.
In London, he didn't show up.